Hi everybody, we got called on to do the good, the bad, and the ugly of everything we're growing video that is going around right now. So let's take a look at the different places we're growing and look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is my little garage experiment area. This has all been grown with grow lights. This was one tomato I started, and I put it into a wicking bucket. You can see plenty of tomatoes on it. It's grown all the way up here. I need to raise the lights again. It's just been an experiment, something to play with, but we're getting lots of tomatoes off of it. We got the first tomato June 8th, which is the earliest we've ever had a tomato off of this system. So that's the good. The bad, you can see. Or maybe this is the ugly. Problem is, I'm growing two completely hydroponic tomatoes just to play with it. I've never grown anything hydroponics before. This is my first year playing with it. I was using two containers that size. They run out of water very quickly, not big enough for hydroponic tomatoes. So I moved up to this size. Still goes through a lot of water very quickly. So you can see that plant might be dead. I'm gonna pull those last tomatoes off of it, but the plant itself might be dead. It ran out of hydroponic solution, and that's the ugly. But you can still see we're getting more tomatoes here. I need to raise the lights up to keep these tomatoes growing up into the top. But this is our garage kind of growing area. You can see the zucchini, I just transplanted it out of the in-home system, the one that's in the living room. I started that hydroponically and just transplanted it into soil here. It'll stay in here for a little bit, recover, and then it'll get hardened off and moved out to the garden. So that is the good, the bad, and the ugly of the garage system. Before we go outside, you can see here, this is some of our garlic we harvested. I would say that's good. We've got quite a bit of garlic to get us by for quite a while. So that is our garage area. All right, let's take a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of the duck pond grow bed. All right, here is the duck pond grow bed. The good, everything grows like crazy in here. I mean, it's really taken off. You can see we've got the tons of lettuce. That was mostly seeded from a couple of lettuces that I transplanted from the hydroponic system. It all went to seed and pretty much has filled 3/4 of this IBC tote with lettuce just off of what seeded. Look at this celery. I mean, the color's amazing. It tastes good, and it's doing really well. The Mizuna, we've been pulling off of that here and there. It finally went to seed. Cattails, but mostly just lettuce in here. The bad, we're not 100% sure if you can eat this. It's grown in duck pond water. None of the water's actually touching the lettuce, but there's some concerns over using manure from warm-blooded animals growing in that, and if salmonella or anything like that can be transmitted to humans. So we've been kind of leery about eating this. That's the only bad. The good is we've been growing a ton. The bad is we're not 100% sure if it's safe to eat. The ugly, wasps. Because this grow bed, the water is just a couple inches below the rocks. Lots of wasps in here getting their fill on water, which I don't mind the bees, but I do not like the wasps. Or I think these are yellow jackets. I think they're paper wasps is what the actual term is for them. You can see them flying all around here. So the good, everything really grows like crazy. The bad, we're not 100% sure if we can eat it. And the ugly, this is just trapping a bunch of wasps. All right, let's go take a look at the garden. Here is the garden for 2020. So let's do the good. Almost fell. The good. The Swiss chard loves it out here. It is doing really well. It's growing 2 or 3 times as big as we are growing in the hydroponic setup indoors. So that is good. The onions. The onions are doing amazing. Look at all of those onions. I mean, this one here is almost the size of my hand. So the good, the onions, the potatoes look like they're doing pretty well. The peas, already harvested most of them, replanted for fall harvest. Peas are doing well. Peppers are doing okay. Tomatoes are finally starting to take off. They had a lot of freeze damage in June. We had an early freeze come in and did a lot of damage on the tomatoes, but they are recovering and doing well. Let's see. The bad. Cucumbers. We have 2 lemon cucumbers that are struggling to hold on. All of the others got eaten by bugs before they could establish. Zucchini and squash. I've got one that I just transplanted out here, the other one you just saw in the garage system. Everything I planted out here, eaten by bugs. So maybe that is the ugly, not just the bad. The ugly. This is where I planted all my carrots and beets. Everything got up a little bit, germinated well, and we went straight to 95 degrees and it cooked everything. That's the ugly. Green beans are not doing too bad. I'm thinking with the Swiss chard here, I've got some problems with my drip line, and that's why those ones are kind of yellowing a little bit. They're not getting full water. Not our normal year in the garden for sure. Usually this whole side over here is completely full of plants, and it looks pretty barren. Looks pretty ugly, I should say. But we do have a lot of goods. So we already harvested all the garlic, you saw that. The onions are doing well. Swiss chard. Hopefully those beans will produce for us this year. And I'm gonna get some shade cloth over these straw bales and get them replanted for fall harvest. Overall, not too bad, but definitely not our normal gardening season. And the last place to look is our indoor hydroponic system. The good, the bad, the ugly. Let's see here. The good, we are growing a ton of food. We've been growing since December. This is bok choy. It's a smaller variety of bok choy. We have 2 trays growing of it. There's some of the Swiss chard, some more seeds that we're starting that will be transplanted out. Swiss chard has been growing since, like I said, December. Some more Swiss chard and some red vein sorrel down here. And the best of this hydroponic is the lettuce. We can grow a ton of lettuce. So I start lettuce every about 10 to 12 days, and that gives us a constant supply. So I've got 2 or 3 trays usually of lettuce growing at all times, and it's ready in about 3 weeks or so. We're ready for harvest. So getting lots and lots of food out of this. The bad, these rain gutters only hold about 3 days worth of water. Once the plants get established, it starts to run out of water quickly. I should say hydroponic solution. The stuff that we start can make it a full like 30 days till first harvest, but then once we are pulling more vegetables off, it really starts to use the hydroponic solution. So that's the bad and the ugly, is that every 3 days I have to constantly fill these up. And if I forget a day, then it gets real ugly. Stuff starts drooping really bad, and it takes a long time for it to recover. So that's the good, bad, and the ugly. The good, we've been growing a lot of food since December. Now I'm going to end this with another good. This is our blackberry bush. First year, we've got loaded with blackberries. So nothing bad or ugly about that. So I want to thank CJM Farms for tagging us in their video for us to do this. And I'm gonna tag 3 here. So we've got Independence Acres Homestead, Millennial Homesteaders, and Prosperous Hills Farm. So now it's time for you guys to do your videos and get them out so we can all check out how your gardens and the food you're growing is doing. This has been a fun collaboration. It's been fun seeing everybody else's videos and seeing how other gardens and food growing is doing all around the nation. So thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see you next time. Have a great week.